Continue with chapter 3. The second part of this chapter is about the world, the receptacle world. That's where we live, and we're going to talk about topics like circles of the wind, of the water, of the gold, and the mountains, oceans, continents, and the dwelling places for hell beings to guard. And also we will mention the body measurements, life expectancies, and units for measuring space and time, and the four stages of a great kalpa, how it appears and how it gets distracted, and these and so on. So this is diagram. This is a picture I got from the English translation, the latest one. Here you can see we have at the beginning, when a new cosmos or a universe forms, at the beginning we have space, and then the wind circle, then the water circle, and then the golden circle. And above the golden earth layer we have mountains and rivers and oceans. We have mountains and oceans, and we have also the four continents surrounding the central mountain of Sumeru. And we will explain. We'll go through these details. And since this chapter it's mostly about facts and numbers, so we will go through them a bit quickly. When a great eon or great kalpa starts to form, so at the very beginning, a subtle wind will arise in space, and that will resolve continuously to form the wind circle. And that wind circle is not as the wind is not as weak as we imagine, like the wind in our daily life. That kind of wind is very hard, very strong and indestructible, like diamond. It has this wind circle has a thickness of 16 laksha. A laksha is a length unit in ancient India. So one laksha is about 100,000 yushanas, and one yushana is about 7.5 kilometers. And the diameter of the wind circle is about 1 asamkhya yushanas. Asamkhya is another unit, is another number in ancient India. And very often you will encounter this term in the text of Buddhism. It means innumerable, but in fact it is also a number. It's a huge number. And that is a number that you put 51 zeros behind. You put 51 zeros behind 1. That is the number. And above the wind circle, we are going to have this water circle. It is how does it form? This is very huge raindrops will fall onto the wind circle, so it's going to form the water circle with a thickness of 1,120,000 yushanas. And this water circle, it is held together by the karmic force of being. Well, actually, the initial wind arising in space is also from the karmic force of sentient beings. So is this one. The water circle is also held together by this force, so the water will not disperse into the surrounding space. The water circle has a diameter of 1,203,450 yushanas, with a circumference about 3 times of the diameter. Right, so if you just times pi or 3 for simplicity. And then above the water circle we have the golden circle, or you can also call it the golden earth layer. That's everything, all the continents, all the oceans, they sit upon this golden earth layer. And how does this occur or happen? Because when stirred by wind, the top layer of the water circle will condense gradually, and an upper layer of that water circle will become the golden circle, the golden layer. It has a thickness of 320,000 yushanas, while the remaining water layer would be 800,000 Yushanas. So the top parts of the water layer would be converted into the golden earth layer. It has a diameter and a circumference same as the water circle. This is like a process when you, for example, when you take a basket of milk, you stir the milk, and after a while you stop it and leave it for a while, and it will form a thick layer of cream or something like that on the top. So we have these three circles. And above the golden earth layer, we're going to have a system of mountains, oceans, and continents. We're getting closer and closer to where we reside. So from this illustration, you can also see that in the very center, we have this mountain Sumeru, which is the biggest mountain in a small world. You can call it Mountain Sumeru or Mount Meru, Central Sumeru. It's the same one. And it is composed of 4 precious substances. Its east side is composed of silver. The southern part is a blue jewelry called lapis lazuli, and the southern part of Mountain Sumeru has this blue color, and that's why our Earth has this blue sky, due to a reflection of that blue jewelry. The west side of Mountain Sumeru is made of the red jewelry called ruby, and the north side of Mountain Sumeru is made of gold. Mountain Sumeru has a dimension of 80,000 Yushanas above water and also 80,000 Yushanas below water. So total height is 160,000 Yushanas, as you can see on the left part of the illustration. And then we have these 7 golden mountains that surround Sumeru, each with half of the height of the previous one. So we have these mountains with names Yugandhara, Isadhara, Kadiraka, Sudashana, Asvakana, Vinataka, and Nimindara. So their height above the water, the part above water or above the ocean, are 40,000, 20,000, 10,000, 5,000, 2,500 and 1,250 and 625 Yushanas above water, respectively. And the part below the water, the parts below the ocean level, are all 80,000 Yushanas for all of them. And then we have the mountain at the very farmost boundary, that is the Cakrivata, the outermost mountain. In English it is also called the iron enclosing mountain. It is composed of solid iron with a height of 312.5 Yushanas above water, and it is the boundary against the outer salty ocean, where the 4 continents, the four continents with human residing is all in the outer salty ocean. In this illustration, you also see Chap.3. That's where we are. We don't see the other 3 because this is just a limited illustration, but you have seen it in a previous illustration. And you will also see more details from here about the continents. So the 4 continents, each continent have 2 subcontinents. We can start from our continent, Jambudvipa, at the south of Mountain Sumeru. It is chariot shaped. Well, maybe the kind of horse cart In the ancient India, it is like this. So there's 3 sides of 2,000 Yushanas, with the shortest side of only 3.5 Yushanas. It is named after the Jambu tree. It is said that the fruits of this kind of tree keep falling into the ocean, and it makes a sound like jambu jambu. So that's how our continent is named, after that sound, Jambu. So it's called Chap.3. It has 2 subcontinents called Kamara and Avara Kamara. And the eastern continent is called Purva. It has shape of half moon and 3 sides of 2,000 Yushanas, and the other side, the shortest one, is 350 Yushanas. And humans who live in the eastern continent has a body size about twice of us who live here in Jambu. So it also has 2 subcontinents, the Deha and Videha. Then we have this western continent called Apara Godania. It has the shape of the circle, with a circumference of 7,500 Yushanas and a diameter of 2,500 Yushanas. This continent is blessed with wish-fulfilling cows and abundant wealth. So their cows can fulfill your wishes. And the cows are also a kind of currency, can be exchanged as currency. It has 2 subcontinents with the names Shapta and Uttara Mantina. And the last one is the northern continent with the name Uttarakuru. It has a shape of a square, each side of 2,000 Yushanas, so with a total perimeter of 8,000 Yushanas. They are perhaps, with a mundane standard, they have the most, they enjoy the most mundane things, with the best material enjoyments. They have spontaneous clothing and food. They don't have to work in the field. They don't have to work. They have clothing and food spontaneously, and they also have a very fixed longevity. All of them, each and every of them, who lives in northern Uttarakuru, will have a lifespan of 1,000 years, no more, no less, just 1,000 years. It has 2 subcontinents, Kuru and Karawa. Also about the human beings who live in these 4 continents. Humans, the face, or the shape of humans' face is about the same as the shape of the continents. And that is to say, like humans in this continent, we have our head or our face like slightly wider on the upper part and slightly narrower, like our chin. It's a bit narrower. That's the lower part. It's a bit narrower, just like our continent. And people living in eastern continent, their face is like half moon, and people in the western continent, their face is like a circle. And in the northern continent, they have square faces. Now let's take a look at the dwelling places for sentient beings, and we start from the hells. We have 8 hot hells, which very often we read them in the text of Buddhism. And these 8 hot hells, the one that has the one that has the sentient beings who there, they suffer the most. They have actually ceaseless, endless torture. That hot hell is called Avicii. It is located 20,000 Yushanas beneath our continent, and it is 20,000 Yushanas high and wide, and its ground is 40,000 Yushanas below the ground of this continent. As I said, people, the beings who are born in this Avicii hell will suffer without a single interval of relief. That's the worst. We also have the other 7 hot hells above this Avicii hell, and from top to bottom they are Samjiva, which means reviving. We have Kalasutra, means black stream. We have this Samgata, which means crushing. And we have Rava, meaning weeping, and Mahararava, meaning great weeping. And we have Tapana, meaning heating, and Pratapana, which means intense heating. And more than that, at the 4 entrances of the great hells, we have also 16 supplementary hells at the 4 directions. So what are the 4? So at one direction we have 1, so we have 4. At each direction we have 4 supplementary hells, and they are the Kukula, which means the burning embers, and there's Kunapa, that is the swamp of rotting corpse, a lot of dead bodies in it. And then we have this, the third one is actually having 3 different kinds of supplementary hells combined about the same place. So they are the Kshuramaga, meaning the road of the razor blades, and also this one called Asipatravana, meaning forest with sword leaves. Also this Ayal Samarivana, which is the forest of iron thorns. Because the suffering of from these 3 places are about the same kind, so they are categorized in the same as the same supplementary hell. And the 4th supplementary hell is called Nadi Vatarani, and that means the river without ford. There's basically no chance for living beings, for beings being born into this supplementary hell to get rid of, because it's a river without ford, and there are many guards with weapons to prevent you from escaping. And apart from the 8 hot hells, we also have 8 cold hells with successive stages of torment. So it's from the first to the last. The kind of torment, the kind of torture is increasing. And the first one is called Abuda. It means blistering. Those small wounds. I'm not sure if you have this kind of experience, if you have ever lived in very cold regions in this planet, Siberia or the northern part of China or Scandinavia. Some parts in Scandinavia also very cold. And during the winter time, if you don't have enough clothes, you might have formed this kind of blisters on your body due to the cold. And during the night, you cannot fall asleep because they're very itchy. They don't really hurt, but they're very itchy. And that's the name of the first cold hell, Abuda. And the next one is Nirabuda. It's blisters bursting. So those blisters, they will crack open. They will burst. Of course, more torture. And the third one, is Atata. So beings born in Atata will have their teeth chattering together due to the cold. And the 4th cold hell is called Hahava, and the 5th is called Huhuva. These 2 are named after the sound sentient beings make due to the cold, due to the kind of moaning or wailing in the coldness. And the 6th cold hell is called Upala. It means a splitting like a blue lotus. So the wound in the body, in that coldness, will split like a blue lotus, or the number 7, Padma, is split like a lotus, a red one. And then the number 8 is called Mahapadma, means the wound, or the wound of the body was split like a great lotus into many pieces. So it's getting more and more serious. But a common characteristic in all these 8 cold hells are that the extreme cold will crack the body of the sentient beings apart. Then we also have the dwelling place for hungry ghosts. The main dwelling place is 500 Ushanas beneath our continent, beneath Chap.3. And it is 500 Ushanas deep and 500 Ushanas wide as well. Their king, the king of hungry ghosts, is called Yama. It is the king, and then obviously it has good feeling actions. But it is still hungry ghost, so it has a bad projecting action. Of course, Mahayana may have some different explanations of this Yama king, and they would say that they could be manifestations of bodhisattvas to teach those hungry ghosts, to teach them how to get rid of samsara. And then we have dispersed dwelling places as well for hungry ghosts. Like in the heavens, they are enslaved and exploited by devas. They work for the devas, like slaves. And in the human realm, they might dwell in graveyards and deserted wildernesses. Then we have animals. So the main dwelling place for animals is the great ocean, the outer salty ocean. And then we also have dispersed dwelling places for animals, like in the heavens. Yes, we do have animals also in the heavens, but not above the desire realm. Only desire realm have animals. So in the heavens of our desire realm, we have nagas and also garudas. And in the human realm as well, that are many we are familiar with. Every time we visit the zoo or the aquarium, we see a lot. So they're from the land, the area, and aquatic creatures, which are many thousands or millions of different kinds. So we also have the dwelling places for the devas. We have 6 deva planes in the realm of desire. And in each small world, in each system surrounding the mountain Sumeru, we have 1 sun and 1 moon for a world of 4 continents. And the sun and the moon rotate around the mountain Sumeru, and at the middle of the mountain, that is to say 40,000 Ushanas above the water, we have this gods of the 4 great kings. They live in the middle of that mountain. And the moon is about 50 Ushanas wide of water stone that are luminous and without heat. And the sun is about 51 Ushanas wide made of fire stone that radiates light and heat. But of course, we don't have to compare description of the moon and the sun here with the modern science, because we might have different versions of the reality when people are in different states. So this is understandable. We don't have to compare. And at the middle of the mountain Sumeru, as I said, the 4 great kings live there. And they also have some family members close. They also have some other sentient beings that are governed by them. For example, the terrorists of the Yakshas, ever drunken, they live in the terrace below the 4 great kings. And below them, we also have the yakshas called the garland holders and the vessel holders. The vessel holders, yakshas, they live the closest to the ocean. And since the sun and the moon are rotating around the mountain Sumeru, we can actually imagine that the sunrise and sunset are at different times for the four continents. So for example, when it is midnight in the northern continent, Uttara Kuru, it is about sunset for sentient beings living in the eastern continent. And it will be the noon for us living in Jambudvipa. It will also be the sunrise for the sentient beings living in the western continent, the Apara Gaudania. And of course, you can keep thinking about it, like what is the time when it is midnight in our continent for other three continents. So you can just think about that kind of questions to imagine how this system works. Then we also have the dwelling places for sentient beings for other devas, like the 33 gods. In Sanskrit it's called Trayastimsa. Well, I don't know precisely how to pronounce it, but in English it means the 33 gods. They inhabit the summit of Meru, Mountain Sumeru. They just live on top of that mountain, with a total area with a size length of 80,000 Yushanas. That's the summit of Meru. But their capital is called Sudarshana, which is the city of lovely view. It has an it has an area with a side length of 2,500 Yushanas wide and 1.5 Yushanas high. So just recall that 1 Yushana is about 7.5 kilometers. So that city is about slightly above, it's a bit more than 10 kilometers high. And it has a palace of Vajrayanta. That's where the Shakra lives. That's the king. That's the main god in this 33 gods plane. And this palace is a square with a side length of 250 Yushanas and with a height slightly over 0.5 Yushana. And we have 4 surrounding parks, surrounding the palace of Vajrayanta. In the eastern, it is called Katarata. In English, it is translated as a various chariots park. Well, that's where the gods can take different vehicles and have fun. And in the southern direction, they have this Parushaka, which is the harness and the armory park. They have weapons over there, and those weapons will manifest when those devas are about to have a war against asuras. So they come here and take the weapons. In the western direction, they have this Misraka, which is the various activities park. And in the northern direction, they have Nandana, which is the delight park. So these two are parks for the devas to sing, to dance, and to mingle. Also, in the northeast, they have a Parijataka tree. In Chinese, we sometimes say it is the tree with a big aroma. This tree is 100 Yushanas high, with its roots going down about 50 ushanas deep. With magnolia flowers, its aroma can spread 100 ushanas with the wind and 50 ushanas against the wind. And that is a bit abnormal because for our trees like here, the aroma can spread with the wind, but it cannot spread against the wind. So that's the special merit with that tree. And in the southwest, they have this Sudama Hall, the Hall of Good Dharma. And that's the assembly place for the devas to, for example, discuss the Dharma and examine the good and bad deeds of themselves and of human beings. Yeah, so that's the place to discuss about Dharma, about good or bad actions. They also have a celestial defense system to make sure they don't get attacked. So, for example, this also includes 4 watchtowers